everybody, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's theclinicaltrialsguru.com. So keep your questions coming in. My email is dan@theclinicaltrialsguru.com, or find me on every single social network. Try me. I'm on like most of them. Username Dan Sfera, usually DANS like Sam, F like Frank, ERA. So today's question's from a viewer who's asking about budgets, and I've done lots of videos on budgets in the past. Actually, a lot of the webinar topics that I'm going to be rolling out here over the next couple months are going to be related to budgets. So I wanted to get these questions answered today. So the first question asks, is there a line item for overhead? The second one asks, what line items are typically left out of budgets? Then this person asks closeout, about the closeout visits, and is there a line item for closeout? And so these are all good questions. And then they also ask if there's a line item for pre-screening, and what's the average advance. So is there a line item for overhead? The answer is no. Okay, when you look at a budget, you'll see line items for every procedure in the study. And then at the bottom, you'll see an overhead, site overhead. And that number depends on what you negotiate, and even more so, what you can prove, okay? And what you have written down as your company policy. I have got mine up to 40%, so my overhead's now 40%. If you need the text that I use, email me, okay? But that is my policy that I've been using. So 40% it is, so there's no line item for overhead, although it is at the bottom of the budget, and it is ultimately included in the total per patient budget that you'll get, okay? Now, what's an average advance, or what's typical of a advanced startup payment? It's $5,000, and again, this is negotiable, okay? Sometimes they'll try to start you off with $2,000, $2,500. Try to work it up to $5,000. You also want to include hidden fees, like pharmacy fees, like storage of the archives fee. All right, storage has gone up in price. All right, we use Iron Mountain at many of my clinics, and it's like $300 a month. So if a sponsor wants you to keep their records for 30 years, I mean that's a lot of money right there. So you got to negotiate at least $1,000 for archiving fee, another $1,000 for the pharmacy fee. Then you want like a $2,500 regulatory prep and administrative fee for starting up the study, all the site training that needs to be done, especially for those studies that require a lot of training up front before you even get to screen. And so you want to get that around $5,000. Sometimes they're willing to give you an advance, so pay you an entire amount of one completed patient, which they will then deduct from future payments. So for example, let's say one completed patient is $18,000. They will advance you this $18,000, and then you have to work it off. So on your, let's say you enroll more study participants, this $18,000 will be deducted from your payments until it's paid off, and then you'll start getting payments again, so you're current. I like those sometimes if I'm cash strapped at the beginning, especially if I'm a brand new site. That can be very helpful. If I'm more of an established site, I won't like that as much, because I don't like to feel like I owe anybody anything. It's kind of weird. Like, I like to go into a study knowing that the first visit of the first patient that randomizes is profit for me. And when you get those advances, that's not the case. But I understand where it could be helpful, and don't get me wrong, I've used it in those situations as well. But I try to stay away from the advances now for myself, because I have established clinics. But if you're a brand new clinic, go for it. You need that cash up front to pay your staff. So the advance payment's usually $5,000. Is there any line item for closeout visit? No. So that's something you may want to negotiate up front, that's typically not going to be in any budget. Actually, I've never had to deal with or I've never negotiated a closeout payment for any of my sites. But that's a really good question to ask in my LinkedIn group. So shameless plug, the Clinical Trials Guru Leaders on LinkedIn. It's a new group I just started like in January or February. It's growing. It's got like 120 something members in there. So I will post that question in my LinkedIn Clinical Trials Guru Leaders group today. But you can try. I mean, I might try that in my next one actually. Just request a closeout fee of $1,000 and see if I can get it. If not, it's no big deal, but see if you can get it up front, or at least upon a closeout. What a lot of sponsors do to make sure that sites comply with closeout. So let's say you enrolled a bunch of patients and you already received your payments, so you have no real incentive anymore to really do anything with the study, but it's not closed out yet, and you still have queries, and of course your coordinators still have to do those, and monitors are still coming in, but there's no revenue anymore. What sponsors do to kind of give sites an incentive is they'll take 10% of your budget, what they call a payment holdback. It's typically 10% if they do it at all, and they release those funds to you. It's money you've already earned, but they don't distribute it to you yet. They release it to you when sites closed out and all queries have been answered, and IRB gets notification that the site has closed out. So try to avoid those, but that will probably be the sponsor's answer to that. If they don't have a holdback, they're probably going to deny your $1,000 closeout fee up front and tell you that, hey, we don't have a 10% holdback in the study. If they do have a 10% holdback, you have more argument for why you should get a closeout fee, but then they could come back and say, well, your closeout fee is really going to be the 10% holdback we're giving you. So it's going to be a back and forth. Like I said, I've never heard of that, but it's worth trying. I think it's a good idea actually. And as far as pre-screening, there's no line item for pre-screening, but you can add one in there. You might get it on, I would say, about half of your trials. I've done this before actually, but you can't charge more than like $30 for pre-screening, telephone pre-screening or in-office pre-screening. Maybe try $50, but you're really not going to get more than that. And so we're not talking about much money here. So hopefully this question helps, or this video helps answer your question. Keep them coming. They're really good, and you're giving me really good topic ideas for the Clinical Trials Guru Leaders group, as well as my upcoming webinars. So if you're not subscribed to YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And if you're not subscribed to the blog, make sure you subscribe to the email list. It's completely free, and when I have these webinars or other things that you might be interested in, I'm going to send an email, and you don't want to miss out, okay? So thanks for the question. Keep them coming, and thanks a lot for watching. This is Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care. Yeah.